All right, it's me again. So I just got done creating a video about it's a reloading topic. Now I'm supposed to just go to another video that I'm creating right now because the topic is quite different, but it's also on firearms. But I'm not going to change what I'm doing because I'm currently reloading 9mm rounds, right? So while I'm doing that, I'm gonna see if I'm able to answer that question that I have. A lot of my friends had known that you know what I purchased firearms and I like shooting. Again, I'm not the expert at it, and the last purchase I did was a Geissele and an HNK. They were both in 223556, and I think I got like a dozen questions on how I really like shooting the Geissele. It's my first Geissele, and it's my first. They're both my first for an H&K and a Geissele, and I never I didn't really want to purchase both at the same time because they're either of them are not cheap. But when I went down to a store that I frequent, they both had the Geissele and an HNK. Now here in Washington, we cannot purchase ARs, but we can purchase parts, and the uppers are considered parts. That's besides the point. So, but anyway, here's the deal, right? So here I am deliberating for an hour, walking all over the place, and the manager, whom I know, finally gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. Said, I will give you both. If you purchase both, I'll give you a discount. So I did the math. I said, man, I couldn't say no. I really wanted the H&K because I think Geissele's are like, it's a name brand, right? And I've never owned a Geissele. I've shot Geissele's before, but it's not like I shot like 1,000 rounds off it, and now I'm gassed into purchasing one. So I said, you know what? Just so that somebody would tell me, hey, this guy owns a Geissele. Okay, go ahead. I just purchased both. So here I am after about 1,100 rounds on both firearms. Finally, somebody asked me a few times, and I've answered them on Facebook. Which one did you prefer shooting? Because they were thinking of purchasing either an HNK or a Geissele, right? Oops, what did I do? Did I mess that up? Nope, I didn't mess that up. Nope, yeah, I did mess that up. Okay, my bad. Oh man, forgot to crimp that one. I just turned that thing around quicker. But anyway, okay, so because a few of my friends were thinking of purchasing either the H&K MR556 or the Geissele Super Duty model in the same store that I went to. And so they had to ask me that question. And here's the answer to that question. Look, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I really like that Geissele, all right? But understand, okay, why do I like that Geissele? Man, that thing was so smooth. The tolerances are really, really well kept. I'm assuming Geissele has an excellent quality control side of the department. It hardly moves. It is so smooth. Of course, it's direct impingement, vice the MR 556, which is piston operated, right? But you have to also understand that the Geissele, uh, it is just so smooth shooting. It barely moves as soon as you pull the trigger. You know, I mean, it'll move like probably, and I'm not even pushing with my C-clamp grip down to prevent any recoil. It's just how it was. I don't know. Maybe it's that barrel. Maybe it's some. But I'm just here to talk about shootability. Now the MR 556 is a clone of the Marine Corps HNK M. What is it? HNK 416. Okay. So basically, it's what the Marine Corps uses, and that's why I really wanted it. You know. Look, but why is it that the Geissele shoots better? Well, for a few reasons. The H&K is piston operated. Any piston operated system, I believe, I own 3 of them, that you have to compare side by side with the direct impingement simply is comparing apples and oranges, because that piston has to shoot back and forth, has to literally move on top of the barrel. All right, and there's no way that you could sustain, right term, there's just no way for you to make a piston operating system as smooth as a DI gun. Maybe a PWS. Yes, a PWS. I actually own one too. But still comparable to a Geissele, PWS compared to other DI guns. Oh my God, man! I don't know how they did the engineering on that thing, right? That is just so smooth. But still, comparing it to a Geissele, it is nothing compared to the Geissele. That Geissele that I own is well worth the price, and it still wasn't cheap even with a discount. So, but understand the HNK 416, which is the military version, which is what the Marine Corps uses. Look, if the Marines are using something, it is durable, it is performance. There's no performance issues. It works. And I worked with the Marines for 5 years in my time with the Navy, and they get dirty. They come off the beach. Their rifles at that time are covered with sand, soot. They gotta work for them to say this is going to be our infantry rifle, and they do. So now, here's where I come across this thing. Okay, it's great for civilian use, etc. Probably not, because civilian use in the civilian world, this systems, these rifles, these barrels, these firearms do not take the same abuse as our military folks. I'm sorry, if you're copycatting and you're just LARPing, it doesn't work that way, right? Our military goes through a ton of crap, and they got to have that equipment that could handle all of that. And that was why the 416 came into play, because I do believe, this is as a footnote, and I'm going to contradict what I said earlier about Geissele. Well, yes, Geissele's and any direct impingement systems actually are very, very soft to shoot. Okay? But I do believe that an M4 or a HNK 416 or a military AR-15, or I'm just mentioning that for our civilian folks, our M4s and our AR-15s configured for the military does not perform, or is not as durable, is not going to go through a ton more stuff and crap as our piston operated system. That's why they say the AK actually can handle any type of abuse. Literally, they shoot. I mean, they're not as accurate as 16s, M4s, and any direct impingement rifle. But you actually don't need that if you're just laying lead down the range. All right. So that being said, if I could access, or if I could purchase, if I could own, this is just me talking, right? And just my opinion. What I prefer is a piston operated system with AR-15 ergonomics, or M4 ergonomics, or HNK 416 ergonomics, right? So you mesh that up. That's my perfect rifle. The PWS, I love it dearly. I own 3 piston operated systems, a SIG, PWS, and now this HNK. And I hardly even clean it. My SIG, SIGs are notorious, but this guy just keeps on shooting, man. This shoots, the HNK, I just had to, put some oil because it was a little dry when I took it out of the box. I put some oil on the bolt carrier group. That's all that one that's moving, bolt carrier group. Put some oil on it, you're good to go. So hopefully I'm able to answer that question. I love to share information. I'm not here for monetary purposes. I don't even care if you subscribe to my channel. I really don't. I'm just here to answer questions of my friends on reloading, on firearms and shooting and real estate. So if you guys got any questions or you think I said something different that you don't agree with, let me know. All right, you guys take care and enjoy your day. Bye bye.